Christmas Eve 2008, 11:30 p.m. A man in a Santa suit knocked on the door of a home in Covina, California. An 8-year-old girl saw him through the window. She ran to the door screaming excitedly, "Santa Claus! Santa Claus!" She opened the door. Santa smiles happily, then raises a 9mm handgun. The Santa Claus incineration. Christmas Eve 2008, Covina, California. 25 people were inside a family home. Christmas music playing, children in the back room. When the door was opened by the little girl, Santa raised a 9mm handgun and shot her in the face. She fell backward. Blood sprayed across the door frame. Santa stepped inside and began firing, room to room, methodical, precise. When two men recognized him and charged, even while wounded, he shot them down. Then the gunfire stopped. He reached for the gift wrap package he'd carried inside, tore it open, pulled out a homemade flamethrower, and began spraying 18 gallons of racing fuel across the walls, the furniture, and the bodies. Then he ignited it. Temperatures exceeded 1,000 degrees within seconds. The Christmas tree exploded. The decorations accelerated the blaze into every corner. But an open flame caught the fuel before he could escape. The explosion threw Santa backward. Third-degree burns covered his arms and legs. Inside, 9 people burned to death. The coroner later confirmed at least 3 were still alive when the fire started. Santa drove 30 miles away. At 3 p.m. on Christmas morning, he put a gun in his mouth and pulled the trigger due to his injury from the explosion. The 8-year-old girl who opened the door survived after extensive reconstructive surgery. You must be wondering, why all these killings? Bruce Pardo, who disguised himself as Santa, finalized his divorce with Sylvia Ortega Pardo a week prior to the attack, and he was required to pay $1,785 every month and $10,000. But he was fired and broke. The injured victims and the deceased are from the Ortega family. If someone you know is in need of financial support and emotional assistance, do refer them to the relevant organization that will help. And if you don't want to be shot by Santa, you should definitely hit that subscribe button now. The single word that killed 73. By December 1913, the copper miners of Calumet, Michigan had been on strike for 5 months, starving and desperate. The Ladies' Auxiliary organized a Christmas Eve party at Italian Hall, 2nd floor. There would be music, a tree, and Santa Claus with small gifts for every child. By 4 p.m., over 500 people packed the ballroom, mostly women and children. They sang carols, waited for Santa. Then, someone shouted a single word. Fire! There was no fire, no smoke, no flames. But panic doesn't need proof. The crowd surged toward the only exit, a steep, narrow staircase. The first wave of children reached the bottom and pushed against the doors, but hundreds of bodies pressed from behind. The weight made it impossible to open them. The children fell, adults trampled over them, more fell, the pile grew higher. Within minutes, bodies were stacked 5 deep at the bottom of the stairs. 73 people died, 59 of them were children. The youngest was 2 years old. They died of suffocation, crushing, being trampled by neighbors trying to escape a fire that never existed. Rescuers found bodies intertwined, mothers curled around daughters, fathers shielding sons. The weight killed them all the same. The man who shouted fire was never identified. Witnesses said he wore a button from the Citizens Alliance, an anti-union group funded by the mining companies. No one was ever charged. One word, 73 dead, 0 consequences. The Italian Hall was demolished in 1984. Only the front archway remains. Every Christmas Eve, the people of Calumet light 73 candles, one for each person who died trying to escape a fire that never existed. Mommy ruined Christmas. Giselle Preston was 26 years old. She was studying to become a domestic violence counselor, driven by her own experience with the man she married who abused her constantly. William Wallace had already served jail time for beating her. Relatives had found her lying in the fetal position in the street during one of the attacks while she was pregnant. Then, on Christmas Eve 2011, they returned from a holiday party to their Anaheim apartment. Their newborn son was 7 weeks old. Giselle's 2 daughters, 3 and 8, were asleep. Then, the arguing started. A neighbor heard them fighting in the alley. Inside, the 8-year-old daughter watched her mother get pushed into a glass table, watched her stepfather carry her mother to the bathroom, then drop her. Her mother's head struck something hard. Giselle Preston stopped moving. Wallace did not call 911. He waited until morning. On Christmas Day, he dragged her body from the bedroom to the living room, propped her on the couch, put sunglasses over her bruised face. Then he woke the children. "Mommy ruined Christmas," he told them. "She got drunk and ruined Christmas." And he made them open their presents. The 3-year-old and the 8-year-old sat in the living room unwrapping gifts while their mother's corpse sat beside them, sunglasses hiding the damage. At 9:30 a.m., Wallace finally called 911. Paramedics found blood throughout the apartment, holes punched in walls, a door torn off its hinges. Giselle still slumped on the couch. In 2011, Wallace was convicted of second-degree murder, sentenced to 15 years to life. Giselle's mother now raises the 3 children. The 8-year-old who watched her mother die testified against her stepfather. Giselle was weeks away from graduating. She wanted to help women escape men like him. The irony is as cruel as it sounds. The Christmas Cake. December 23rd, 2024, Torres, Brazil. A family gathered for their annual Christmas celebration. 7 people around the table. Grandmother Zilai had baked her traditional Christmas cake. Dried fruit, marzipan icing, maraschino cherries on top. 6 of them ate it. Within 3 hours, they were vomiting, convulsing, struggling to breathe. 3 of them never made it to Christmas morning. Tatiana was 43. Her aunt Maida was 58. Her mother Nusa was 65. All 3 died of cardiac arrest within 48 hours. Grandmother Zilai, the woman who baked it, survived. Barely. So did her 10-year-old great-nephew, who only had a small slice. One person at the table didn't touch the cake. She walked away untouched. When forensic tests came back, investigators found arsenic in the blood of every victim. The flour used to bake the cake contained arsenic levels 2,700 times higher than the legal limit. Someone had poisoned the flour before Zilai ever touched it. Police arrested DZ Mora, Zilai's daughter-in-law. She had been feuding with her husband's family for over 20 years, 2 decades of resentment, and she had searched for information about arsenic online before the gathering. But here's the darkest part. Zilai's husband had died 3 months earlier in September. Cause of death? Food poisoning. Police exhumed his body. They are now testing for arsenic. 3 women dead, a child hospitalized, a grandmother poisoned by her own recipe, and a daughter-in-law who may have been picking off the family one by one. Family conflicts can escalate in ways no one expects. If things at home feel unsafe, reach out to someone who can help. Christmas is supposed to be about love, joy, family, and peace. Share love, not hate. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chatty here, and I'll stand by you always.